least I'm trying to. I just requested it. There he is.
There you go.
How are you?
Nice. I'm doing great. What's up?
Living the dream, man.
That's great. So how was your day today?
It was good. I drove a solid 3 hours this morning to check on a job, and I've been working in the office ever since. How about you?
Well, same with me. A lot of work this morning, driving all over the place, and then I got a call from this guy saying that we could do a live video, and I had to change my plans to be here with you.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. For people who don't know you, can you tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Alex. Well, my name is Alejandro. Everybody calls me Alex. I'm a painting company. I'm a small painting company, and I've only been in business for 4 years. So as far as what we do, I focus on painting. That's the main thing I do, and we also do a little bit of carpentry, remodeling in general, and a lot of decorative finishes like decorative stuff like Venetian plaster, metallic finishes, fine paints of Europe, just like you do. And I mean, that's what I mainly do. But like I was talking to you earlier, we also do remodeling, and I'm trying to focus on remodelings more than just being a painting company. I know a lot of other companies have started, like big companies about um, builders or other big companies who started like with a flooring company, and then they started doing more stuff, and then they became like general contractors. That's what I'm planning on doing in the future.
What's your market like? Where are you guys located?
Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I mean, we're doing pretty good.
Is that a fairly large market then?
I will say yes. I mean, like I said, I'm not a huge company. So, but as far as residential, we are getting a lot of business. And I mean, the city is growing so fast that just to give you like a quick idea of what I'm looking at, 2 3 years ago, I just to be busy, I just to keep on my schedule like a week or 2 weeks of work when I got started. And now, I mean, I'm so busy. I'm like 4 months out, so it's kind of exploding all of the everything related to building or construction over here. So we got a pretty good market.
That's awesome. What's the size of your team?
I'm I work with 6 people. It's me, my wife. I have an incredible wife that helps me a lot. She does the she's my accountant, she's my secretary, and at the same time my wife. And then I have 4 guys working with me on out on the field. So we're 6 total.
Awesome. That's a huge advantage against the competition
It is, yes.
when you have a passionate spouse in the company.
Yeah, no, and she really is. And I think I owe her much of my success on the business, because having a partner that supports you, that it's pretty much going with you to that same direction, like supporting you in almost every decision and pointing at the bad decisions that you make sometimes.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's a big deal having somebody that helps me. I really appreciate having her by my side, and I'm glad I married her.
awesome. So, what made you want to start a painting company?
Okay, so here goes my story.
Well, hold
So
on. Go back even farther before we go there. How did
okay,
how did you get into the painting business in general? If there's
so I started painting on 2012. Uh, my cousin invited me to paint for him. He had a small company, and with him, I worked for like about 2 years, and I learned the basics of the painting business. We mainly did like exterior. I was just a helper for him. But I learned so much from this company that he made me want to be just like as he was. He inspired me, like he would had this the spirit of being this person who always wants to do more, who always wants to keep going. So he inspired me. He gave me like this electric shot on my brain that wanted me to go further. So with him, I learned the basics, and then I used to live in Kansas. I was in Kansas, and this place was so cold during the winter that me being just a helper, I didn't have enough work to survive during the winter, really. So my idea of leaving the entire year was to save during the good time and then rest in the winter and eat from a savings, like keep some good money in the bank or something, and then during the winter, during the cold time, be taking some of that money to survive. So I was just starting, to be honest with you. I didn't have almost nothing. I was a poor guy, very poor, very humble guy. And so during one of those winters, somebody came to me and said, Alex, I have a job in Louisiana. I'm doing this big complex of apartments and if you're not comfortable here, if you think that you need something else to do, you can come to work with us. And I was like, yes, definitely. There is no other way around it. I mean, I had nothing to do. I was all day in my house playing with video games, and not because I wanted, but because I didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
So I came with him to a town called Hammond, and long story short, I worked for this company that I have never seen in my life, and I never saw again, for 3 months. For a very cheap price, I worked for them, and every time I came to them, asked them for a check every week.
I lost the audio on it. I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Can everybody else hear him? Alex, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can everybody, can someone in the comments tell us if they hear him? Oh man. Alex, you want to back out and come right back? Oh man. I have a feeling this story is not going to end very well, but it's going to be his origin story to his new thing. Let's see. He's going to back out and come right back. Never a dull moment, live on Instagram. Let's see. Alex will be right back. Everyone's on the edge of their seats. What happened? All right, I'm bringing him in now. There we go. I can hear you.
Well, sorry about that. I got a call from somebody and suddenly I got disconnected.
No problem.
Okay, so
so you got Anna. You busted your butt for 3 months with a company, and every time you asked for a check, that's what I last heard.
Yeah. So every time I came back to this company, to the supervisor, he will be like, "We have no money. You have to wait. You're doing a great job, but you're just gonna have to wait a little more before we can pay you." And they were like that every week for 2.5 months. And I mean, at the end, one day they just disappeared on me. We were living at a hotel, and during the time where I was working with him, again, I was in a new town, very small town. I didn't know anybody. And during that time, I got to, so I'm a Christian guy, okay? And I'm a musician. And during that time, working for them on this new town, I went to, there was a Hispanic church around the hotel. And I started going there because I like going to church. And I started teaching music. I had this group of students, and I started, making good relationships with people. And when these companies disappeared on me without paying me, I was going to say that during this time working for them, I sold everything I had in Kansas. Like everything I had, even my car, I sold it because I needed money to survive here. And so one day they just disappeared on me, and they left me 2 days paid in the hotel. And that friend, the friend who told me, who invited me to come with him, when he saw the situation, he came with me and said, Alex, I have to leave. I'm going with my family and I cannot take you with me. So imagine that. From one day to another, I was a homeless.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So it was, I was living a teenager's life until then. And when that happened, I don't complain about that. This situation made me who I am. And it gave me that spark. When that happened to me and I saw myself from one day to another without a penny on my hands, that gave me the person who I am really. It kind of waked me up. So I started asking my students or people at church for a place to live. I started asking them for a job because I needed to I needed money, really. And nobody gave me anything. Like nobody knew me, nobody helped me. And I was during a really, really bad time. I was having a bad time. That situation was terrible. Somebody gave me a trailer to live in. I met somebody at a store and I asked him, hey, I need a place to live. I have nowhere to go. And this person was going out of town. He was going to Houston. And he said, you know what, my son? I have a trailer that you can use. It doesn't have electricity. It doesn't have any water. But at least you'll have a roof. And I was like, yes, let's use it. So I lived in that trailer for 6 months without electricity. I was a caveman. And I had no family around. I'm the only one on the U.S. of my family. All the rest of my family is in Mexico. So I'm originally from Mexico. I had nobody who I could go to ask for help. So again, this situation gave me that spark. One of my students came to me and said, Alex, you have been so great at teaching us. Here's a truck. I'll give you a truck. He gave me a Silverado, 2003 Silverado. Great truck. And with that truck, I started going to work. I started doing better, but again, with that different mindset. I was like 21 when I got here. I'm 28 now. And something good to share, something good to tell the people who's watching right now. Everything I have done, everything I'm sure that you have done, started here. Success is not about going to work every day for a company and wanting to be out in 8 hours. Success is really wanting to succeed in here. Believing that you're gonna really gonna do something. So going back to my story, I went out of that town. I went to the city of New Orleans. I'm sure you have heard of New Orleans. It's a great city. I didn't even have a phone. Just imagine this guy without a phone. I didn't have a GPS to go to these cities. So I was hearing of people saying, I was hearing from my friends saying that New Orleans had a lot of work, had a lot of painting companies. So one day I just took off with the little stuff I have. I put it in the back of my truck. I went to New Orleans, and without having a GPS again, I don't know how, but I came to a Mexican store and I started asking people again, hey, I need a job. I need a place to stay. And somebody referred me to a company that was doing pretty good commercial work. They were working at the downtown in New Orleans. So I got a job. Somebody in that same store referred me to another person who had an apartment for rent. So I went to an apartment, and I started working for this company with a different mindset again. They didn't really needed me. That company, I worked for them for like 2 months. When they didn't need me, they just let me go. And then again, at church, I found another church in New Orleans, and I met other painters at that same church. One of those painters was a musician. He's got his company too. He might be watching us. His name is Levi. Levi's Painting. And he was working for another big company in New Orleans. That's where I saw Fine Paints of Europe for the first time. 2015. I was amazed by the work this person was doing. And when I started working with him, again, with this different mindset of wanting to do more, of wanting to help, of wanting to grow, not wanting to be in the same situation where I was in Hammond, without a penny on my hands, without knowing almost anything. I this person saw that in me. This guy saw something in me. So for the first time in my life, I was in charge of the painting crew with him. He saw something in me, and he said, you know what, Alex, you're gonna be in charge. Here's these two guys. I already knew how to paint. I knew how to spray. I knew how to use the tools and how to kind of manage, how to move around. And he gave me the opportunity to manage his crew. And I grew with him also. Like I learned how to manage the jobs, and I learned how to kind of administrate things. So from having nothing, I went to having a good job, having 4 or 5 guys working with me the whole time. And I had the opportunity to learn how to manage people, how to manage the job. I was doing big jobs. I learned how to do Fine Paints of Europe with this guy. We were brushing Fine Paints of Europe, and that was basically how we started my company. Seeing him, watching the things he did during his day inspired me too. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And here I am.
What part of Kansas were you in?
Kansas City, Kansas.
I grew up in Topeka.
Oh, that's great. I had no idea. It's a good town. I liked it over there.
Yeah, the people are nice, but it does get cold.
Yes, too cold. Too cold for me.
That's amazing. So, and Levi's Painting was the company that was using Fine Paints of Europe?
Well, he was working, the company I was working for is called Jason Bernier. He's certified
I
on
know.
Fine Paints of Europe. Okay, so I was working for him, and Levi was doing, was his main Fine Paints of Europe guy. So Jason gave me the opportunity to work with Levi, and Levi teach me pretty much how to do the Fine Paints of Europe.
Wow. Small world, man.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty well. I've met him a number of times. He's a good guy.
Oh, yes.
That is awesome. So what did it look like going from there to starting your own company? How did that happen?
Okay, so I was leading one of his crews, right? And something happened with him. We didn't, something unexpected. I loved working with Jason. It was a passion for me working with him. But I was probably too young at the end. I ended up moving on to another company. It was probably a bad decision for me. Well, now that I'm sitting here talking to you, it was probably not a bad decision. But at the moment, it was a bad decision for me. I saw it like that, and I went with another certified painter. The only other certified painter in Louisiana, there is only Jason Bernier and Kid Guy, the only
Yep.
two certified painters in New Orleans. So I went with Kid Guy now. I went to work with the competition. And with Kid, the first day when he saw me, I think he also saw something on me. I was like, okay, I'm going to work with you, but I need you to pay me this amount. And he was like, okay, well, you work with Jason, you kind of have an idea. Go ahead. And he saw me. He saw me for like about a week and came back to me like after he saw my work. And he said, you know what, you asked me for this amount? I'm going to give you this much more. So he gave me more than what I asked for. And I was so comfortable working with him. A great company. With him, I learned how to do Venetian plaster. He gave me the basis of the Venetian plaster. And something happened on 2016 here in Baton Rouge. I don't know if you remember, but a big flood happened here where I live. Did
Yeah.
you heard about that? Big flood in Louisiana?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to this church, and I was seeing these big amounts of people using my church to sleep because their house is flooded. And all that I had in my mind was, okay, we need to help them. And I had no idea this was a great opportunity for me to start my business. And I was sitting on my then girlfriend's living room. Gloria was my girlfriend during that time. And my mother-in-law said, there's going to be a lot of work with this flood. There's going to be a ton of work. And people's it's going to go crazy on prices and all that. And when I heard her saying that, I was like, this is my opportunity. This is my chance. I could become somebody out of this flood. It was sad to see people and their losses. A lot of people lost their homes, but at the same time, it was a great opportunity for me. So I was working with this guy, the one I just told you about, and I went with him the next morning, and I took him outside. I wanted to talk to you. I told him, and I told him, you know what? I feel so comfortable working with you. It's great. I love being here. I love working with you and the crew. I mean, I just like it. But this is a great opportunity for me, and I want to become somebody. I don't want to be working for somebody my whole life. I want to become somebody, and I want to have my own business in the future. And I touched his heart. He almost cried, I remember. He put
That's
his
amazing.
hand on my shoulder and he said, you know what, son? One day I did the same thing you're doing. So go ahead. Go ahead. It is a great opportunity. Go ahead. And if things don't work out, if you find yourself in trouble later on and you want to come back, come back. Your place is going to be here.
That's amazing.
So that's what I did. Next morning, I went to Baton Rouge. It was a huge mess everywhere, like trash, like literally almost every house flooded in certain areas. And there was piles of trash all over the street and thousands of houses to be fixed. Some people got 3 feet of water. Some people got 5, even 8. Some people lost their homes like completely. So what I did after working with these, after talking to this guy, I went to Office Depot and I printed like 500 flyers. a big amount of flyers. I went to these neighborhoods, house by house, putting a flyer on each door, talking to people. Hey, I'm a painter. If you ever need help, here's my my information. And I almost got arrested, man. I almost got arrested because the army was taking care of the neighborhoods. So there was a lot of crime going on too. You know, people were stealing from these flooded houses. So there was a lot of crime going on too, and I almost got arrested. A cop thought that I was gonna steal something from a house because I was by myself, walking and getting into the neighborhoods with a bunch of flyers. I mean, it was kind of weird. It was not a good idea.
Oh, I love it though. The hustle of, I've heard a number of people on this show who have similar stories where they just started by knocking on doors.
Yes. Well, that was me. And then during that time, out of those 500 flyers, I didn't get a single job. Nobody would trust me.
Yeah.
Nobody would trust me. I didn't get a single job. But I was calling everybody I need. Hey, I need to find me some work. I don't want to work for somebody anymore. I want to do my own thing. And a good friend of mine, his name is Miguel Triste. He's a pool contractor. He builds pools and he does plaster for pools. So he called me and he says, Alex, there's a contractor that you might be able to talk to. He's a big contractor, and if you can if you can talk to him and get work from him, it'll be a good start for you. He was doing his pool. He calls me, Alex, the contractor's here, and I'm right on my way to meet this guy. Again, nobody would trust me. I was like 22 years old. Would you trust somebody who's
With a Chevy Silverado?
yeah, big rims, and I mean, if a guy comes to you 22 years old on a truck saying, "Hey, I can paint your house," would you let him do it?
Probably not.
Yeah, so I came to this guy. I met him that day, and I told him, "Hey, I'm a painter. I'm very interested on starting working for you." And this guy, he didn't even pay attention to me. He turned around and he said, "Okay." And I kind of got mad. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I told him again with a stronger tone. I told him, "Hey, I've been working for the two best painting companies in New Orleans. And I'm telling you, I can paint.
Yeah.
So please, if you have a small chance, if there is a small amount of work I can do for you, I can show you that I can paint." And that kind of made him remind him that there was a chance of this guy, 22 years old, could probably use a brush. And he calls me the next day and he said, "Hey, I got a house. I need you to come paint it." And he hang it up. Like this quick. I'm not lying. He calls me and not even lets me say hi or ask him what the house is like. Anything. "I got a house. I need you to paint it." Done. He sent me the address and I'm there the next day painting it. Yes. So I painted two houses for him. It was one of the biggest companies in the city where I'm at right now. Todd Norman Construction. He gave me my first house to paint. I started working with him. He liked, I guess, the way I did things. I wasn't charging him much, and I was doing great quality work. So I started painting with him, and he started giving me more and more and more and more to the point where I was not able to keep up. He introduced me to interior designers, to other contractors, and I'm telling you right now, just today, I, I mean, this is something new for me. It might not be new for you, but today I got like 5 calls of people wanting me to paint their homes or to do some type of work, and I'm like, can you wait 4 months? So in 4 years, technically, I mean, I'm a successful company already, and I feel like all the work, all of these things that happened to me, gave me what I have now.
That's an amazing origin story.
Yes, sir.
I think that, having a chip on your shoulder, having serious desire, because not everybody who paints at a high level wants to go out on their own, you know, and that's good. Otherwise, there'd be a bunch of sole proprietors and no real companies. But you know, I think I'm the same as you. As where I knew if I was going to keep doing this, I was going to do it on my own. And I was when I went out, I had a very similar story. I took anything I could get my hands on. I probably didn't have quite that hustle that you did and some other people did of making all those phone calls and going door to door. I think that's awesome. Um, but when you have that like strong desire, and yeah, man, when I first started, I did great work for really cheap. When I look back now on what I used to charge, oh my gosh, it was of a lifetime.
Yeah, well, same story here.
So you're getting all this work. How did you learn how to price? Where did pricing things come from?
Well, I learned the hard way. Sometimes, I mean, on smaller jobs, I'll be fine pricing them. But then I started getting these 8,000, 10,000 square feet homes, like new houses, new construction or buildings. And I'll be like short most of my time because I wanted to get the jobs and I wanted to do great work. And at the same time, I wanted to give them a good deal because there was competition, there was other people, and I didn't understand at that time that competition might have a lower price, but that goes with a lower quality.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give them great quality for a cheap price. And I had to learn this the hard way again. I remember charging a very cheap price on my first big project, which was uh, like a 10,000 square feet home. Dude, I was getting so much stress
Yeah.
because I was going cheap on the price. I didn't have enough to pay my materials. I didn't have enough to pay a reasonable salary to my guys. I didn't have enough to pay for my taxes, insurance, and all that kind of things. Now, I mean, now I know, but back in the day, I had no idea about those things. So it was so much stress for me that I started losing rounds of hair. So much stress.
Yeah.
But even though I have so much stress, I always felt like I was in the right place. Like no matter what happens, I know this is bad now. This is an investment. I saw it that way. This is an investment. This is gonna work out. And so I started getting jobs like that. And I mean, I finished with that one. It wasn't great. I didn't do great. But the next one, I was like, okay. Uh, I did that house, and then calculating how much money I spent by square feet. I was like, okay, this is my price, and I started doing better on my price. And I mean, now I don't know how it is where you live, but in here, I feel like new construction is not really a good business for us. Or what I do, I will do a new construction like decorative finishes, like these fine paints of Europe, Venetian plaster, metallic finishes, or any other type of decorative finishes. But I'm leaning more towards the repainting or remodels than the new construction now.
Yeah, we don't do a ton of new construction because it is, yeah, to do the level of quality that we do on a new construction makes us, you know, a lot of times twice the price of everybody else. And so, yeah, I know, you know, we're not going to do a new construction for less than $10 a square foot. We tell them that, and then they don't call us for 99% of their projects. And then I get a phone call. I had one today. Hey, I have the perfect job for you. Okay, good. You know, I'll take this one seriously. But if you know, it's a competitive market, the new construction world.
Yeah,
And what my company brings to the table isn't that valuable in a new construction. You know, really clean people, you know, really good customer service. And, you know, those are the types of things that if you're on a new construction, the client's not around, you don't really care as much.
exactly.
But I don't want to pay for that. And, you know, yeah, the new construction world, it's easy to get in on price, but it's hard to make money. You know, you
Yes.
have to have some good relationships. And, you know, in my experience, that you have to be the most expensive or close to the most expensive guy, and then really sell your value.
Totally agree.
But I like what I like to do in new construction is say, you know, give me the gloss, give me the entry hall, the kitchen, you know, the show pieces that if the client doesn't want to spend for the whole house, you know, we'll do the show pieces of the house. And, you know, there's 100 guys who can do a decent job painting an interior of new construction.
Exactly. Yeah, and see, that's exactly where I'm focusing right now. So during my time working for these contractors doing new construction, I learned that any other company could paint, like normal paint or what most people would do. Like any other company who would compete with me, they could also use a sprayer. They could also use a brush. They could also use a roller and do the exact same thing. So when I saw myself getting this type of business and I saw myself like doing the normal painting and seeing other companies doing the good stuff, I was like, what am I doing? And I started focusing on those things, and I took it seriously to the point where I ended up in Miami with the. Have you heard of Giancarlo Sagasti?
Yeah.
Okay, so me and him, we're friends now. He also speaks Spanish, and I started seeing him on social media, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I already knew how to do Venetian plaster because I worked with these people in New Orleans, and but I was using the wrong product. So my friends, you guys that are watching, if you're gonna use Venetian plaster, don't use acrylic plasters. I tried it. The best ones are lime-based plasters. So I started seeing him on social media, and I started seeing his work. I started texting him. We became friends, and I told him, you know what? If you give me a chance, I will come and work for you for free. I just want to see what you do. And he said, okay, come on over. And I was there the next day. I drove like 16 hours from here to Miami to meet this guy. And I mean, he teach me a lot. Now we talk every once in a while. And there's another company too that I get my products from. Their name is Free NC Color, great company. I also get a lot of help from them as far as Venetian plasters. So I started to work with this guy, like asking him about products, asking him about techniques, and learning so much from him. And these contractors that I was working with introduced me to interior designers. So that's when when my work paid off. When I finally got to work with the interior designers and not with the contractors. One day, I got called to do a job. I had no idea who I was working for because the contractor just sent me there and he said, you got to paint this house. I had no idea whose house it was. So I did the best I could on my house. And one day, a lady comes to me and said, "Alex, I've been watching your work. Thank you so much for coming to my house. You're a great painter." And I'm like, "Who are you?" She was one of the biggest interior designers in town. And she liked my work. She gave me the opportunity to start doing these Venetian plaster finishes, these metallic finishes that I do now. And she referred me to so many people that, again, now I can't keep up with all of it.
Got to raise your prices then.
Yeah, so now I'm mainly working with the interior designers, and I get a lot of calls from customers, like personal customers. But let's say 80% of the work I do, I get it from my interior designers.
It's huge. When you
Yep.
source for a designer, yeah, there's a lot of value there. So, when did you hire your first employee?
Why did I hire my first employee?
And when? Like how soon this whole thing did you hire your first employee?
Well, as soon as I got started, I knew that I needed some people. So I started asking around for the people I knew that people that I knew they could paint. I was like, "Hey, do you want to work with me? I'll pay you. I'll pay you whatever you ask for." And now that's a big thing too. Now that you touch that about people working for you, I have learned so much about that too. That's a huge deal. It does matter, and it is a big step knowing who you work with. So many people came to work with me, but until I got the right people, my company started growing. So I was I was contracting like just anybody. I was like, "All right, you want to work? Get yourself a brush and let's go ahead." That's why I was getting the cheap work.
Yep, I've been there.
Yeah. So I got myself some good painters now. I have the greatest team that I could have ever dreamed about now. Great team, what I have now. And I mean, that's really the base of the success of our company, the team that I have. Like right now, I'm here with you. They're they're painting a house right now.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And I know when I started, I just figured like everybody else was like me. I think that oftentimes we project like, well, they'll be like me. They'll care about it. They'll do a good job. They said they could do it. Why would I mean? I'm sure they can. And man, I went through so many people when I first started, and to think of like the team I have now. I look at our team and I'm just like, I didn't know this level of human being existed in the trades. These great people. They weren't. First of all, when I first started, I paid everybody cash. Well, you're not going to get the greatest people paying cash, right? The type of people who want to work for cash are not awesome employees. They're just not.
Yeah.
And that took me time to understand. When you first start, you just think, well, it's more bodies. This is good. And then you look at them and you're like, wow, I made less money having more people.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, that's definitely a big deal because to be able to be a good leader, you need good followers. To be able to lead your company successfully, you need people who really wants to grow with you. It's not just anybody that you're gonna find in the street who wants that. It's people who also has that passion, and maybe not a passion as strong as yours, but people who really thinks that they can succeed on this business, because now painting is not for everybody either. Not many people likes to get some overspray on their hair. There's people who don't like it, and I don't blame them. It's the world is big enough to work somewhere else, not be a painter. But people like me, that's what I want. That's what I love. I don't care. getting some oil-based paint on my hands every once in a while.
Yeah.
I love it. I love what I do. So I was reading a book not long ago saying that the success of a company is in some part on you, the leader, but mostly on the team that you have. Like if you don't know how to lead them, if you can get a good crew, pay them well. Like I'm not talking about giving them $8 an hour. That's not gonna be worthy for them. So you gotta pay them well. You gotta compensate your people. Give them a how do you say this? A life with dignity. They have to have like a good car. You gotta provide them to. They gotta be able to pay their rent on time, to pay for their food and all of that. You can't be cheap on people. So that's a big truth that I learned. You gotta pay them well, and you gotta find the right people to work with. So now I have this guy, for example. He calls me every day. Alex, what's the plan for tomorrow? What do you need me to do tomorrow? I don't ask him to do this. Nevertheless, he does it. Do you need me to drive the van somewhere? Do you need me to pick up something? Like, I'm not working right now, but do you need me to go to the store and get ready for tomorrow? And sometimes I get to him and I'm like, hey, dude, calm down, chill. That's the right people. That's the people that makes you grow.
Someone that's invested, just giving a crap goes so far in this business. If you're into this and you're invested and you're thinking, we always just say, if you're thinking about it, like we want people who want to think about what they're doing. And yeah, what are we going to do tomorrow? What do we need for tomorrow? Like those are valuable team members. How did you get your wife involved in all this?
Oh, that's a big question. So, when I met her in New Orleans, I again didn't have a penny back then. And when we started dating, going out and all that, we always wanted to do things right from the beginning. I told her at first, you know what, if we end up in a relationship, I don't want to just have a girlfriend. If we end up in a relationship, I want to get married. I want to marry you. She agreed. And she said, you know what? I want to do the same thing. If we end up, being a couple, well, not a couple, if we end up in a relationship, it's because we want to do it right. So from the beginning, we were kind of into the same, we had the same purpose. Let's say it like that. So he saw me working as a painter, and I started telling her, one day I'm going to have my company. One day I'm going to have my own business. Dude, I remember borrowing money from her when I first got to New Orleans. Borrowing $50 from her to buy myself lunch. She believed in me. That's all I can say. She believed in me, and she stayed by my side. When I started the company, she was the one making all of those numbers work. She would call me one day and say, Alex, you have this much left on this job. You spent already this amount, and you cannot afford to buy yourself these or she was the one keeping track of the numbers, paying my guys when she was my girlfriend. Now that she's my wife, she is my accountant, she's my secretary, and she takes care of everything related to numbers. As far as money, I don't have to be worried about paying my people on Friday. She takes care of all that. And I mean, I didn't have to tell her, I want you to do this. She involved herself because I mean, she had the same passion. She wanted to grow too.
Yeah. And now she's the one that holds the purse strings.
Oh yes. Yeah, she's just a huge help.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for the support from my my wife is not involved in my business, but she supported me, emotionally and financially. There was times I'll never forget the time that we got a credit card so I could go to a class and learn how to do something better. And it was a huge deal. And, we talked about it and she was all in, you know, and to have somebody in your corner that's rooting for you and believes in you, I know for me has helped me persevere through all that hard stuff you have to do in the beginning, where it feels like the world's against you sometimes. When you have somebody that's got your back, it's so huge.
It is.
That's awesome, man. What's your wife's name?
Gloria.
Gloria?
Yep.
Good for you, man. You're a lucky guy.
Thank you.
So you started, how soon? You were doing decorative finishing like right when you started painting?
Yes, but not as much because people wouldn't trust me.
Yeah.
Like I was eventually like one of every 10 jobs I was getting something super small, like maybe paint a very tiny cabinet with a metallic paint during that time because people wouldn't trust me. But eventually, every time I did a job, people liked it so much that they would recommend me with their friends, with other people in general. And I mean, I started like doing it more often to the point where like now 60-70% of the work we do is decorative finishes.
And you said you went to Miami to learn, and it sounds like you mentioned a book you were reading. Are you constantly learning? It sounds like.
Yes,
You're big,
definitely. Yeah, so I don't know how to explain it, but I'm that type of guy who wants to perfectionate like almost everything I do, all right? But when it comes to work, I mean, painting, priming, spraying, uh, and everything related to my job, I'm a super perfectionist guy. So I decided, for example, with these Venetian plaster finishes, I decided to put everything I had in it because it was my priority to learn. I decided to spend my money, go all the way to Miami, and suffer at the beach with a coconut, you know? I
I
wasn't suffering in Miami at all.
bet not.
Yeah, so the thing is, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I really like learning. I think that there is never going to be a point where you will be able to say, I don't need to learn anymore. Every day from everybody you will be able to learn if you're in the let's say if you're in the mood of learning. So I think I am a big fan of learning. Yes.
Me too. I love it. I can't get enough. I'm constantly reading, studying, practicing. I I mean, I started a school because it's the school I wanted to go to. I listened to everyone I could. I've gone to a number of classes. I think continuing education is huge in what we do, because when you keep getting better, you have a better chance of thriving, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just like for example on the spraying that I was doing, I wanted to go higher on my quality, and I tried all different types of things before finding me a good system. I was trying everything I could with the airless Greco Titan sprayers, but I mean I just couldn't get to these very fine finishes. And I mean I'm still learning about these. I'm not a super expert as far as spraying, but then I moved to HVOP, and it was good, but it was not the quality that I needed. And then I found this airless air assisted systems, and it was a machine that was so expensive I didn't have the money to buy, to be honest with you. And I was like, okay, this is what I need. I don't care spending what I don't have. So I went to a store in Austin, Texas, and bought me a very, very expensive sprayer. And now, I mean, that sprayer paid itself.
What'd you get?
A Kremlin Rexon 30 to 1 pump.
Beautiful. With the golden gun.
Yes. The best gun I have ever had.
It's an amazing system.
Mm-hmm. So I'm like that. I mean, I'm big on investing. I'm not cheap on buying equipment for my company. And I think that's a good point too to mention. If you want to be the best, you gotta have the best tools, and they're not gonna be cheap.
No. Now, how did you have to clear that with the big boss?
I'm sorry.
Did you
Sorry.
have that purchase with the big boss? With Glory?
Sorry, you're kind of cutting off. I couldn't understand.
Did you have to clear that purchase with your big boss?
Oh yes. She told me no. She told me no, don't do it, and I was like, yes, I need this.
And you convinced?
Yeah, but I mean, again, she's a big help. Like, I'm not a big fan of overthinking about these things, about investing. When it comes about investing in my company, I'm like, okay, we need it, we buy it. And she might not be like that. She sometimes will try to stop me of doing that. And I mean, she has her reasons, because sometimes I try to invest too much in the company and not in her, or not on my own things, you know?
Yeah.
But in this case, I mean, that was a great purchase. That Kremlin saved me from crappy spraying work.
Now we got to get you an automotive cup gun, like a SATA.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with the automotive?
Not much, not much, but that's something I need to get into too.
Yeah, for the smaller projects, if you were going to do a single door with an air assisted airless, you're just going to waste a lot of time and a lot of product cleaning the air between every coat just to do a little bit of spraying. I recommend looking into a SATA cup gun. That's what we do all of our doors with and all of our smaller projects, and they're unbelievable. The finish quality the atomization's even better, and man, all you need is, if you need to spray 12 ounces of paint, you only need 12 ounces of paint, and then you clean up in a minute and a half with 2 ounces of thinner, and you're done.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like something I'm buying pretty soon then.
Yeah, you have to come up. We'll show you all about it.
Oh yeah, I'm interested on doing that too.
So when did you start Instagram?
Instagram, I started like 2 years ago, but not seriously. When I started, I was like, yeah, social media, I'm not sure about these. I'm not sure if it's even gonna work. I've never been good at cameras. That's what I thought. But that was wrong, That was wrong, because when I started Instagram, things started even better than what I was doing. Like, I feel now that I'm doing social media, I feel like when I meet my customers, they treat me like they already know me.
Yes.
It's a different story, having being active in social media and doing all of these.
It's a game changer.
It is, yes.
Similar to you, I wanted nothing to do with Instagram at first and social media, and my wife actually started my account. And I was just this old curmudgeon man that wanted nothing to do with the social media. Oh my God, you just want more likes. Oh my, all of that. And I've built my whole company on Instagram now.
Yeah.
We'll do I mean, we'll do well over $1 million in revenue next year, all from Instagram. It's been a game changer.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so I'm not, again, I'm not a huge company yet. But I am getting so much out of social media. Like I'm doing so much better now because I mean people just don't know about the things you do until they see it. And with this, you have the opportunity to show them, to have a personal relationship almost uh, with your account. Like you get to show them exactly what you do. Like right now, people would call me and say, Alex, I need you to come do the finish that you did last week on this house. But I know you're busy because I saw your stories and I know that you're at this house right now.
Yep.
So it is a big game changer. Yes.
Crazy. So when you started, how did you get into it?
Into what?
Instagram. Like what
Oh,
what what did that look like?
well, when I started, I didn't see myself talking to a cell phone. I didn't
Yep.
imagine myself talking to a screen all day. But when I started seeing other companies doing it, I was like, this might be good. This might be a good thing to do. And I'm down for everything that's good for my company. So it was worth giving it a shot. So I started seeing, for example, this guy Giancarlo. He's big on social media. I mean, I admire his work on social media. He's like, he will post a story uh, every 30 minutes. Like his social media work is incredible. And I'll be talking to him and he'll be telling me, you are missing a great opportunity of doing business with other people. You need to do social media. Pretty much I got my inspiration from him, from looking at what he does. And I started doing it. I started getting a little better talking to the camera. And now, here I am.
Yeah. Eventually it becomes second nature, but it's
Yes.
the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started, I would record 20 videos, 20, try to do it. Oh, stop. I stumbled over a word. Oh, and maybe I'd post one out of 20.
Yes, yes.
Now I take a video and I post it. I don't even watch it. Moving
Yeah,
on.
yeah, you get better. You get better eventually. And same thing with me, but for me it was even harder because I mean my English is not perfect. It's not super bad, but it's not my first language.
Yeah.
So it was maybe hard for you. It was twice harder for me because this is not my first language.
Yeah.
So I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm gonna sound dumb. I'm gonna sound like I don't know what I'm saying. And this was, I mean, I'm not afraid of it right now, but at the beginning, I was like, I don't want to sound like I have no idea what I'm talking about. And I started, kind of setting my mind to be like, okay, you might not sound as well as other people, but um, eventually you're gonna learn. And I'm gonna lie to you, my first videos were terrible. I
Yep.
was terrible at first.
I believe it. When I think back to my first videos, oh my gosh. To the Spanish English thing, I think it's huge that I'm interested to understand how you were able to learn English as well as you have, first of all, because you do speak English really well. I can't imagine if I had to learn another language and then use it every single day in business. I, it seems like such a huge monumental task, and it's super impressive that you've been able to do it. What's that been like?
Well, imagine yourself in a very small town without a job, without knowing anybody.
Yeah.
Imagine how I felt without even being able to communicate with people. It was a hard task for me to learn, but what I can tell you is that my whole intellect went into learning, and not just about the job, but into learning the language. I just to be online into online classes, learning English, like courses. I bought courses. I went to this website where teachers learn. Like one of my teachers in Mexico told me about this website. He was a member kind of, and he gave me his username and his password. So teachers learn from this website to teach high school students in Mexico. So he gave me his username and his password, and I was up until 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning learning. But again, this is something I really wanted. And eventually, I mean, I didn't even realize when I started to communicate with people and like being more fluent.
It's huge. It's huge. You
It
know,
is.
I know I've employed guys. I know a lot of really talented painters. And if they don't learn the language, it holds them back. You know, it's
Yeah.
just a reality. It sucks, but it is a reality. And when you can learn the language and be a great painter, you know, you can do so much more.
Yes.
It's really cool. It's very impressive.
Yeah. Well, it was not an easy task, I can tell you that. It's still, sometimes I deal with words that I don't really understand because English is weird. It is. There are some words that will sound exactly the same but will mean something else. And it is kind of a big deal for us. I mean, me as a Hispanic guy to understand me speaking Spanish as my first language when I got to English, different world of grammatics and all that. It was like mind blowing for me to start with this new language. But at the end, I mean, I'm doing better every day. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
just the fact that you're doing this interview, I mean, the idea, I took Spanish in high school, and like the concept of doing an interview in another language is terrifying,
Yeah.
you know, and it's pretty badass that you're doing this, you know, the whole story, like, but I think that when you have that will, you clearly have a fire in you, and when you put that up against the wall, you rise to the level.
Exactly. And you know, this is a thing that is worth sharing because many people will say, I can't do these. Many people will say, oh my God, this is something I definitely cannot do. And this is all here. This is all in your mind. There is this saying that stayed with me throughout the years that says that if you give up in your mind, you will never win. But winners never give up. I stayed with that during my entire career about painting. And I mean, if you want to win on something, you have to put everything you have into it. No matter what you do, even if it's something not good for yourself, if you really want it, I mean, eventually it's gonna go from something in your mind to something physical. So in this case, we wanted to have a business, we wanted to grow up, we wanted to do something great with our lives, and eventually it started in our mind, but eventually it became physical.
Boom.
Yep.
It's so true. It starts with mentality. I'm such a big believer in mentality and how you see the world, and because that can change. We can change the way we see the world. We can change the way we think. You know, we're human. That's what makes us special, is we can adapt and evolve and persevere and change our reality. I'm a big believer in that. I've done it for myself. And a lot of it is through education. I believe, for me, it's been, books and podcasts and just surrounding myself with those ideas, and they seep in and slowly they change your perspective.
Yep, exactly. Same with me. I'm a big fan of Well, I'm not a big fan of reading, having the actual book in my hands and
Yeah.
reading it. So what I do to when I want to learn about something in specific, or when there is a book that I like, most of the time I'll do like an audiobook.
Yeah. I,
Yes.
Audible.com. I think I keep them in business,
Yes.
especially with all the driving I do. But I'm not a reader either. If I had to sit down and read a book, it would take me 5 times as long to read
Yeah.
it, and I wouldn't comprehend it. I'd reread the same sentence 14 times, but I can listen to things and absorb them.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, man. Well, I know that you have you get to church, so I don't want to keep you for too much longer.
Okay.
This story has been incredibly inspiring. I hope it's inspired a couple more people. But we have 3 questions that we ask everybody at the end of every ZK Live. They're sort of standard. The first 2 are easy. The last one will make you sweat a little bit.
Okay.
But the first question I have, the first one is, I need a DIY painting tip for
DIY painting tip.
Do-it-yourself painting tip.
Does these go to people who knows how to paint or people who has
Or
no clue?
like one day, if I ever have the time, we'll go back to all these podcasts and we'll make a compilation video of all the DIY tips for people who are not professional painters.
Okay. Do it yourself tip. If you're gonna do it yourself and you have no experience on painting, do not use the sprayer. Brush it.
That's it. That's great advice. You can cause a lot of problems with the sprayer pretty fast.
Yes.
All right. I need your favorite piece of painting paraphernalia, favorite tool, piece of equipment, you name it.
Spray gun.
The Excite gun?
Yes.
Yeah, the golden gun. If you've only used airless guns, the first time you hold that Excite gun, oh man. Oh
Big
man.
game changer.
It really is.
Yep.
Favorite tip size?
Favorite tip size. Well, on the airless system, I like the green fine finish tips from Graco 412. That's what I use the most. And on the X side, I use a 5-inch fan. With there's 2 types of tips with for the X side. They're they and I'm not I do not understand completely how these numbers work. They're kind of weird, but the tips that I use the most are the ones ending on 2. So right now, my favorite one for the X side is a 5-inch pattern, a 5-inch fan, with a tip ending on number 2. So that means that the tip is very fine. Like it's a 5 fan with a fine finish. I feel like you get better atomization out of a tip ending in 2 than out of one ending on 4. I'm not sure if this is certain. You correct me on that.
I'm holding here a little tip. Actually, I had a couple next to me. I found them in my desk. That's not a good
Okay.
place. I think that the first number isn't the first number the orifice size. So this is an 09 one.
Mhm.
So which is what we would use for like water-based stuff.
Yes.
And then the thinner stuff we would use in 06.
Yes. That's what I have right now. I mean, they're downstairs at my shop. But I'm not very familiar with the numbers. I'm still kind of new with this system.
I'm not certain that the first with the flat tips from Kremlin, the first is not the fan.
Yeah.
right? I'm fairly certain that the first number is not the fan; it is the orifice, and the second one is the fan.
Okay. So for example, on that tip that you're holding, what number is it, and what would be the
It,
fan?
it's an '09 114, so I believe that is an '09 orifice,
Okay.
and then the 114 is the fan size.
Okay. So it'll be
Oh,
one.
I'm gonna have to get someone from Kremlin on here,
Oh yes, yes, that'll be great.
and we'll go deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't. To be fair, I don't um, paint very much anymore, so I don't know what tip sizes that we use. I mean, I'm sitting here with two '09s. Right? Is this an '09 too? Yeah, I'm sitting upstairs with two '09s in my desk. That's not a very good place for $200 worth of.
Yeah.
So girls make it downstairs. Um, but okay, so it's the Kremlin Excite gun. I think anyone who's not used a true air assisted airless, you're missing out. The Finish Pro from Graco. Yes, thank you, Paint School. .09 is microns is the orifice, and 114 is the millimeter fan size.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's what I thought. It's reverse from an airless tip.
09, 09 is the microns of the tiny hole is 09 microns,
Yes,
and then 114 is a millimeter fan size. So a 114 will be like how many inches?
114 millimeters, 10.1 centimeters. I don't know, man. You have to Google it. But
Okay.
we like those larger fan sizes to start because you can always reduce the fan size with the Excite gun.
Yes. Yes, but you know what? I mean, I guess this is something personal. This is more for like uh your like every sprayer has their preferences, right? I'm not a big fan of big tips. Like if there's a big fan, like 10, 12-inch fan, I'm not gonna be a big fan of it. I'm more of anywhere from 5 to 8 inches will be perfect for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you start getting into too large of a fan pattern and that gets dangerous. I
Yeah,
did.
too much.
Do you follow who posted it the other day? Mickey the painter down in Australia.
No.
You got to follow Mickey the painter. He's an entertaining guy. But he
Okay.
reposted a video of somebody spraying a door with a 1223 tip. So they sprayed a door. It was kind of a joke, obviously, but they sprayed a door with one pass. It was a 24-inch fan pattern. It was hilarious.
Imagine the orange spill on that thing.
Oh man. All right, so my last question for you is I need the most embarrassing, most costly, the mistake that kept you up at night that maybe you've never even told your wife happened on a job. I want you to bare your soul for us and tell us the most embarrassing, biggest mistake you've ever made.
Okay. One day I got fired, okay? By that, you're already thinking that it was something really bad. So it was in Kansas. I was working on a staircase, going up in circular motions. I was in a second floor, and I was on a ladder, uh, painting ceiling. I was on a step ladder, and I was using this. I don't know how to call this thing, a triangle piece of
Pivot.
plastic. Yeah, I don't know how to call it, but I was on one of those things, and I have no idea what happened. That thing failed that day. It failed me. So I almost fell off the ladder. I mean, off the stairs. And the bucket I had with paint, it was a gallon, almost filled to like 3 quarts of paint with it. So it went all the way from the second floor on the jumping on the stairs. So imagine white paint. It was a very nice house. Imagine that can like jumping all over, and it literally stopped all the way at the first floor. It landed exactly at the first floor. I mean, before the first step of the staircase. White paint all over.
Oh my gosh. How'd you fix it?
I didn't. They fired me.
Oh man.
the
That
guy, the
first
guy came back. The guy
story.
came back, and I was trying to wash the stairs, and he said, "You know what? Just get out of here." He didn't say any bad words or anything. He was just like, "Oh my god, just get out of here."
Oh man, Alex, thank you so much for sharing that.
All right.
And and honestly, thank you for joining me here tonight. This has been awesome, man.
All right. It's not a problem at all. I'm glad to do this.
I'm excited to see everyone's going to go out and follow ASA Painters. We're going to watch Alex, continue to watch your growth, man. Uh, I would be betting on you. You know,
Okay. Well,
it's
thank you so much. I really appreciate also the opportunity of having a place to share our story. I really think that we can get to inspire other people. There's many people with good ideas that might be thinking, I can't do these. I'm telling you, if you have the mindset to become somebody, I mean, you can do it. I did it. I encourage you to do it.
beautiful, man. That the work ethic that you have, it's the drive, the motivation, dude. The sky's the limit.
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. Well, have fun at church tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm excited to follow you, see what you do.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.